Hi, I'm John Peters, and today I'm going to be talking about how to disinfect your electronic equipment without destroying the electronic equipment. To do this, I have some hydrogen peroxide, the 3% hydrogen peroxide. I have Q-tips for my keyboard, a soft linen cloth, also Clorox bleach, and some ibuprofen alcohol. Now we'll go over to my computer room and I'll go through the steps that I use to clean my office. Thank you. Hi, I'm John. I'm getting ready to clean up my area. The very first thing I do is disinfect my desktop and my keyboard stand. I could use a paper towel for this. I do not need to use anything fancier than that. And I'm going to make sure that I pour this out over my plastic mat that I have here so I don't ruin the carpet. And I wipe it down. And here's where I keep my keyboard, and I wipe that down. What you will find is that it will dry off in about a minute or so. Next, I take my linen towel and I take my keyboard. With the keyboard, I unplug it before I do anything with it. I don't want anything going back to it. And when you unplug it, if it's got the square end, you can plug it into any spot possible. Most of you will have a square end. Now when I'm doing a keyboard, I can either use 3% hydrogen peroxide or the alcohol. So I'm going to go over here, over my spot again, pour some hydrogen peroxide on my towel, and clean my keyboard. Just make sure I go over every one of the keys. I do the same thing with my mouse. I make sure, again, it's unplugged with the square end here. I take this and I make sure that I've completely cleaned my mouse. If you are working with a wireless keyboard or a wireless mouse, take the batteries out before you do this. Now make sure that you don't use too much solution so it drips down in between the keys or inside of the mouse area. Now it's a little bit different for a laptop because you really have a hard time getting the laptop apart. What I do then is to take a Q-tip, use my alcohol, and I'm getting a whole bunch of messages here, and then I wipe down each individual key with my Q-tip. I'm not going to necessarily go through all of this right now. Now, one of the things that we all have now are our touch screens. What you need to do then is dilute with water and use about a third as much hydrogen peroxide as you would use on your keyboard. The touchscreen isn't necessarily as bad. Now, I would suggest possibly using a microfiber on this rather than using my regular towel, but it's perfectly safe to use your regular towel. I dip it in here. I make sure that I have it wrung out. And then I clean my touchscreen. I'm using the other end of my towel to make sure it is good and dry. Now, do not do this with your full alcohol solution because it will damage your screen and leave streaks. So that's why I have very diluted stuff. And it's something that you don't need to do very often. You can also do this with cotton swabs because at that time with cotton swabs you can clean off a lot of the dirt. And you don't have to do this very often for your own personal device. And it's up to other people to use the touchscreens that you'd use at the bank or stuff like that. I hope you found this informative. Thank you for your time.